June 29, 2007. George W. Bush was president. Umbrella by Rihanna was the #1 song. Pixar's Ratatouille was in the theaters. It would be another unremarkable summer day in history, except for one thing. On June 29, 2007, the first generation iPhone was released. In the decade that followed, the very nature of human technology interaction changed. Today, touchscreens are no longer a novelty, but a standard feature. Banking, email, instant messages, photography, social interaction. The phone now handles it all. You don't even have to touch or swipe anything anymore, just tell Siri what you need. It's not the phone all by itself doing these things. The phone is the interface, but what makes it work for you is the apps. Everyone from your kid's school to Walgreens to ESPN has an app designed to improve your experience or give you better, faster, more direct access to the services they offer, anytime. Makes sense for things that you'd want to access on a regular basis, and personalization is a great benefit. But the question is, does every business need an app? It's a tough question. It takes time and money to develop them, although the idea is that the final product will either save you time or make you money, or both, either through the direct experience the users have with the app or by the information you collect from it. Is this something law firms should have? Does the typical one-and-done client really need a dedicated app on their phone? A phone they could just as easily use to contact the office and speak with someone directly? Or is that an inconvenience? Maybe legal consumers are getting so used to using apps for everything else that it's weird and old-fashioned for them to have to call your office. These are all good questions, and that's what we're doing today on Lawsome, asking questions and looking for answers about law firm apps. Ready? Let's go.
Lawsome, the podcast for law firms. Powered by Consultwebs.
Welcome back to Lawsome, the only podcast for law firms that still mines Bitcoin the old-fashioned way, with dynamite. We're here to inform, educate, and entertain the legal community with the latest in personal and professional development. I am Cyber Demolitions Engineer Jake Sanders, and here to help sort through the virtual rubble with me is Paul Julius. Paul, did you find anything yet?
No, but I think we're getting close. I can taste it. I can feel it in the air.
Bitcoin has a certain flavor.
Yeah. We need bigger charges next time, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what? As long as we can keep the mining happening, keep the noise complaints and the ordnance stuff down, because my neighbors are really getting concerned.
Yeah, I think the boss is getting a little concerned of the fact we keep blowing up all these computers.
And saying it's on company time, and that I got so close to the sewer main.
That was rough.
Let's talk about what's on the show.
Okay, on the show today, we talk legal tech and apps, past and present, with articles from theamericanbar.org and law.com. Then we talk to an attorney who's been there and done that, the creator of Your Firm app, Chris Smith, to find out what the realities of creating a law firm app are and where it's all going. And as always, we test our guests' nerve and patience with 5 questions we ask everyone.
Pull up a plate. It's the Hot Takes Buffet.
The article today is from law.com. It's Legal Tech is the Least Cool Kid in the App Store, study finds, by Gabriel Arum Hernandez. I also served up a scathing side dish on apps from 2013 from the American Bar. It was in their print magazine, their law practice magazine.
Vicious.
It was vicious. Top 10 reasons not to bother with a law firm app. Paul, I came into this episode with certain feelings and preconceived notions from my interactions with trying to create an app, how complicated it was for a law firm to do it. Just the fact that a lot of people aren't using the apps that they download. If anybody has a smartphone, you probably have a ton of apps on there, and you don't use probably 80% of them, studies showed. So I had certain preconceived notions. What is your hot take on all of this, all the hot take buffet?
So I felt very much the same as you. I definitely had some ideas. And it was very much supported by this article here that basically says, legal's the uncool kid. Nobody's doing anything. It's too stodgy. And I found that to be wrong. I found that to be wrong. And I think these articles, it's impossible to keep up with the speed that technology is reaching, and it seems like overreaching every day. So some of this stuff, the one article, the scathing burn
Side
unit
dish.
article
Yep.
is from 2013. It's hard to, I understand a lot of what they're saying, but it's hard to justify a lot of these arguments that they have now. You have no budget set aside for your app. You don't have a plan on how to promote your app, because this isn't something that you're going to be releasing as a bells and whistles. This is going to be something that, as Chris talks about later, it's going to be part of your intake. You're going to say, look, here's how you interact with the office anytime you need. Anytime that you have a question, anytime we have a document that we need you to look at, anytime we need to confirm an appointment, it's done, because everybody's doing this now. I think when these articles were written, even, last year, there were, now your insurance company, you have a claim for your car insurance, just use their app. You don't even have to talk to anybody,
But you got a good point.
So, but I think I'm really interested to hear what you think, because you actually have like boots on the ground experience with this in a law firm. So, what's the deal? I mean, what's changed from, when you were in the firm and when you read these, articles to after talking to Chris? I mean, what do you think, man?
Man, I'm telling you, I was transformed by the interview with Chris. I seriously am in love with his product and who he is, because he's a lawyer who created an app to solve problems at his law firm. So he's not an app developer who's showing up to try and, suck your marketing budget out of your law firm, because everybody knows there's a lot of money here. Law firms are willing to spend money on marketing. So depending on what you're getting sold, you can invest in a lot of cul-de-sacs or one-way things that don't return on the investments like you need to, but it felt good because you wanted to. I had a client who was a law firm. We worked together. They wanted to create an app, but they didn't understand what went into it. There's 2 different apps you have to create for iTunes, for Android, multiple different iterations. You have to make sure that you integrate it within the practice itself, or else it won't work. And that's why I think the article from the American Bar Association, they had 10 reasons why you shouldn't mess with an app. And I think they're still relevant. The fact is Chris says, you either want an app or you don't. But a lot of people don't even know that they may have problems or things that they could benefit from by getting an app and really making it a part of their practice. But like you said, if you don't have it rolling from the beginning, intake, even pre-intake, you don't have a chance of having your app make the difference that you need it to, because it will. But one of the themes that we're seeing in this podcast and through these articles is that just because there's tech here doesn't mean that it's going to solve your problems. What you need is a willingness to accept the reality of your problems, see how they exist within your law firm, and then find a kind of systematic approach like, Harlan Schillinger was talking about, like everybody is talking about, on solving those problems. And that's what Chris developed with his app. That's what Harlan did with, Lead Docket. That's what a lot of these, lawyers who understand what it is from the boots on the ground kind of perspective, like you were saying. So, but what it is, just because you have tech doesn't mean it's going to solve a problem.
Well, I want to ask you something then. Looking at these articles and looking at what you know from your firm, and what we know from working with different clients and stuff, I think one thing that really jumps out at me about kind of both of these articles is that the app was a marketing ploy,
Right.
Like this was going to separate you from,
I got an app.
Yep.
Right.
This is going to separate me from all the other bankruptcy lawyers because I got an app. Now, and maybe I'm wrong, but this is what I want to know. This is not a thing that you're even going to be promoting. It's going to be something that you just say, hey, yeah, we absolutely can help you. And you know what? Here's the best way to stay in touch.
Mm-hmm.
Just
From the
download
beginning,
this thing. When you're sitting in my
everywhere.
office, here, let me help you load
I'm
this
going to
thing
show
onto
you
your
how to
phone.
do it. And I'm going to make sure that you accept these notifications, because this is going to make sure when we change a calendar event that it changes on your calendar. Isn't that great? Susan,
So-
whatever your name is.
So, yes, don't call me Susan.
I'm sorry. Shirley.
So, have we moved to that point now where it's not even a gimmick?
Well,
It's
no,
not even a gimmick anymore. It's not
still
a
a
thing.
gimmick. It's still thought of as a gimmick, but you got to get past it, that idea, because it isn't a gimmick if you use it. In a previous episode, Ivy Gray was talking about small little fixes that you can use to autocorrect documents you make day in and day out. 94% of lawyers aren't even doing that small thing because it feels gimmicky. It feels like I need help, or it's like water wings. It's like, I know how to swim, bro. I'm good. But really, this is a whole different type of conveyance, that people need to see. But I think the only way to really see it is by talking to a lawyer who has actually, used it to solve problems, iterated on top of it, and pitched it, while it was trying to solve real life problems. I think, and then to show that excitement and to show a case study, rather than just telling people of how amazing life could be. It's just like these are the problems that you have that we know we can solve. But I still think it is a marketing ploy. I think it is a differentiation point, because it is so unique. You should embrace that, but unless you embrace it fully, it won't be the answer you need.
I don't know, man. I think more and more I see it in medical. I see it happening more and more. Like, I had a relative going for some surgery, and everything was communicated to me through my phone. They text, okay, they're in, they're undergoing, they're out in recovery. You can go see them. Where's their room? If you need to, the nurse would oh, you need the Wi-Fi access? Here you go. Boop, just send it to me. I mean, there's much more. People are much more comfortable and I think it's happening every day, are much more comfortable using their phone for these different things, which of course leads us to the dark side of stuff, where you never know what these apps are necessarily doing in the background, and that might kind of have some stigma with it too.
Sure. And that'll turn off a lot of lawyers in general anyway. Just like, if I can't guarantee that there's confidentiality, secure connection in between these things, I don't care if you can send me a PDF from your phone. If somebody can get inside of it and say that this is a breach of the privilege that we have established, and I could get grieved or disbarred, screw that. I don't need your app. We can just do this the old-fashioned way. You give me that piece of paper right now. I'll sign it with this big quill, and we can do it. We can make this happen, and I'll get on my horse and run away. But I'm making a couple generalizations there, but
the point is, I mean, it used to be that people automatically discounted boomers, like they're not gonna download an app. Well, now grandma's on Facebook Messenger.
Right. Annoyingly so. Yeah. Get off. Get off.
For better or worse. Yeah. Grandma. So I think these are very good articles in the sense that, number one, it's kind of a snapshot of, like you pointed out very well, some of these views haven't changed. Some of these things don't. You can drop a lot of money if you don't have a plan. I mean, I think that's something,
and that's timeless.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, and that can apply to anything.
Right.
But I think with regards to having an app that handles some of these firm client interfaces, Chris has worked out quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it overcomes, actually bypasses a lot of what these articles talk about.
Totally. And just as long as law firms fully embrace it and make sure that it is fully integrated, and this is our app and this is how we work. Unless you have that ability to create that strong cultural identity across your firm, Maybe the firm app is a way to centralize folks. So there's a lot of interesting arguments. I came into this episode not buying it, and I'm leaving totally energized at the fact that this could be a new way to serve clients and, where they are, meet them where they are. And Chris makes a compelling argument.
I think we should listen to it.
I think we should.
Let's go.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Since 1999, Consultwebs has been helping law firms connect with clients on the web, connect digital marketing success with firm success, and connect their business goals to proven strategies that help them get the most out of their legal marketing. Go to Consultwebs.com to learn more.
And now, for a lawsome interview.
Chris Smith is a lawyer who focuses on representing small business owners, professionals, and individuals in litigation relating to divorce, child custody, and complex property division, as well as business disputes. At his current firm of Smith Simmons, he specializes in high-stakes custody, alimony, and property division cases, as well as mediation. But outside the law firm, Chris is striding forward into the future of legal client services with his Your Firm app. By integrating with practice management software like Clio, Chris's app can handle tasks such as sending push notifications to clients when a calendar event is scheduled, review and upload PDF, as well as sending secure direct messages between the attorney and client, even doing payments, all directly from the app. With an evolving legal marketplace serving distinct and disparate demographics from boomers to millennials, we wanted to talk to Chris about how he balances entrepreneurship and a career in the law and where he sees the future of client communications in the legal marketplace going. Chris, welcome to Lawsome.
Great to be here, guys. Excited to talk about it and excited to talk about how we can use apps to improve the client experience.
Let's start kicking app right now. Give us a rundown of the process you went through with Your Firm app. You saw a need, you had an idea, but then what? I mean, do you have technical experience coding, any of those skills, agile iteration testing? Give our listeners all the war stories of what it takes to be a lawyer, and then how are you taking that, creating that within your app?
I am not a coder, but I have had experience in ideation of, digital products, and I had some experience in at least creating a wireframe that I could pass on to someone who could code it. And that was the key, I think, for Your Firm app, is that we were able to create a concept and an idea, and then we were able to go develop it, build it, and then overlay it on top of Clio, and which allowed us to then take it to the marketplace with the Clio users that have shown an interest, and that's that's kind of where we are right now as far as the app is live, and we're developing apps for attorneys every day.
So the need that you saw, I mean, what was the kind of genesis of the idea? Man, I need to create an app. Not every lawyer's looking out the window saying, you know what, I want to create an app.
As you said in the intro, I am a practicing attorney, and I started to recognize the fact that the client experience, as far as the digital client experience, was not what I wanted it to be for my own clients. And so what I really wanted for them is to have a native app that they could open on their mobile device. They could access communications with my office. They could access documents. They could view their calendar. And I really wanted to create a technical or a digital product that would lower the barrier of accessibility between the client and our office, while at the same time not creating more work for my office. And so things like, when a client has a hearing and they don't have it on their calendar, that leads to a phone call that someone has to answer to tell them when and where they need to be. Mm-hmm. And so what we wanted to be able to do is to create a digital almost a digital office space that they could access natively on their mobile device, which is why we came up with the idea for Your Firm app. And we also wanted it to be branded. I think that was one of the things that I really wanted. I think there's always the question, well, what if Clio or what if Rocket Matter or what if these practice platforms come up with their own client-facing app? We wanted to be different because we wanted it to be a white labeled product that was it was branded for that particular firm,
Mm-hmm.
and that was what we were able to create. And so you're not downloading the Your Firm app on the App Store. You're downloading the Smith Simmons app, and you're accessing your information as a client right there on your mobile device. And so that was the idea. The idea was
Mm-hmm.
just trying to make life easier for the client, but at the same time making life easier for the attorney.
That's so cool, man. We get a lot of people on the show who are kind of heavily entrenched on one side or the other. They're either in the tech side or the law side, where I used to be a lawyer, but now I'm more into developing apps or whatever. So it's amazing to have you on. Here you are firmly in there doing it every day. So I'm curious, what's the response been like? Like, have you heard anything from either client side or law firm side that you can tell us about?
Sure. We just got back from the Clio Cloud Conference, where I would consider that kind of our hard launch, because we were able to get in front of quite a few Clio users, and the response there was great. I took my almost 8-month pregnant wife down with me to work the booth, and she was on her feet all day long talking to folks about our product, and so the response was great. I mean, we came back feeling like the people who understood the process, communicating between attorney and client, they understood what we were trying to do. And so, as far as the client side, what was interesting, we implemented this within my own practice first. That's the great thing about being a practicing attorney, is that I can take these ideas, test them out in my own practice and see if they work, tweak them. And so when we launched it in our office, we didn't really know what the response was going to be from the client side. It was really interesting because we had clients who we didn't think were going to really embrace it for whatever reason. It could have been a generational thing. It could have been that they had been so used to picking up the phone and calling us. And so what we found was that a lot of them, they loved it. They had two-way communication now between attorney and client. I'm not the type of attorney that likes to share my cell phone number with clients. That's a running debate that we could have a whole 30-minute conversation over. My partner is, but for me, my clients loved the fact that they could now pick up their mobile device, their phone, send a message directly to me. I would get it, respond. So the response has been very, very good as far as the clients are concerned. The attorneys who are on the platform and are implementing it into their practice, the response has been just as good in terms of creating a very simple interface for their clients to utilize on their mobile device. I think until we built this, the only real option that you had was to log into a web browser on your iPhone or your Android device and try to access data through your web browser. And any of us that have tried to utilize a website on our browser that's not really optimized for that use, it's very frustrating. And so that's the pain point that we're trying to fix for a lot of attorneys, is that we're giving clients a better experience when they're on their mobile device. And with clients today using their mobile device more than they're using a PC, that's the consideration I think every attorney has to, contemplate, is that their clients want an easier experience on their phone. And so we're trying to provide them that opportunity.
So I had a client who was a law firm, seeking marketing advice. And one of the things that they were really interested in was getting an app because of communication. They were saying it's so hard for our lawyers to get in contact with the clients because some people say lawyers are so bad at communicating. I was part of a lot of marketing meetings where the lawyers are like, I'm reaching out to these people. I'm calling them. I'm emailing them. A lot of paralegal staff. Everyone's reaching out, but the clients aren't picking up the phone. Sometimes they don't want to be interfaced. And it's a weird kind of frustration. I like that you said there could be a 30-minute conversation on, should I give you my cell phone? Or should we try and, how do you handle the communication gap? But my blowback with this idea at the time was, look, having an app just to communicate, whereas you can just pick up the phone and call someone. I'm kind of interested to see that communication is so tough. And there's a lot of savvy people that are like, I hate going to a web browser on my phone. But a lot of law firm clients maybe aren't reaching that level of savviness of knowing that they're frustrated about a browser on their phone when they just want to play Candy Crush. So there's like different layers of like, lawyers want like really shiny stuff, but maybe their clients aren't necessarily ready to adopt the shiny stuff. So not that it takes a chance to convince a lawyer that they need it, but have you seen any kind of adoption problems with clients logging on to the firm app? Just kind of speaking towards the frustration, because I know that it's there and it's not your problem. It's not. You created an app that's beautiful. It solves all these problems, but the question is, are people really availing themselves of the full productive value of the app? Have you seen any like shortcomings in that regards?
That it's completely contingent upon the process that the attorney implements in onboarding the client to the app. If the app is part of your intake and your onboarding process while the client's in your office for the first time, or if you're a virtual practice and everything is online, if you're incorporating it into your process, your use by your clients is going to increase, as opposed to you meet with the client, they leave your office, and then you send them a follow-up email maybe that says, hey, by the way, we have an app, download it and try to communicate with us that way. Because if they leave your office and they see that there's a mobile feature here that they can engage with you on and you're enthusiastic about it, they're going to view it as a part of your practice, and it's a part of the experience that they're going to get with your office, as opposed to just kind of a second thought that you are trying to, you've got an app, maybe it feels cool, and hey, my firm has an app, and but if you really do educate the client as to this is what's going to help, and here's a very good example. One of the things that has happened, and one of the things we created, and it really was kind of a result of just the technology that we didn't really anticipate, is that because of the calendar feature of our app, if you are a client who's downloaded the app, you're just like any app that a lot of us download, it's going to initially ask you, do you want to sync the calendar from this app with your native calendar? Mm-hmm. So for the first time, an attorney now can create a calendar event in Clio, and that event's actually going to push to that client's native calendar on their mobile device. They don't even have to log into the app to view that calendar entry. Wow. That's right there. So if you're a client and you are the type that's kind of scatterbrained, a lot of us are. If you've got so many things going on in your life and you have a hearing coming up that you can't recall exactly, when it is, but it's coming. There is peace of mind in knowing that, hey, I know I sync my phone with my calendar and they can push it to it. It's got to be on my calendar somewhere. I don't have to pick up the phone and call the office to find out when that was. And so if you can talk to the client about the value of that process right off the bat as the attorney, their usage is going to go up, and it's going to end up saving you time in terms of the time that you have to respond to questions about this and that. Another thing that we have built into the app that is built in to try to save time. I'm a family law attorney. Every day, it seems like that we get a call from a client who says, hey, I know I owe you a verification page signed and back to you. I don't have a scanner handy. I don't have a fax machine close. Is there an easy way for me to get this back to you? Before the app, they might take a photo with their phone and just send that to us via email, and then we would have to process it that way.
Oh boy.
With our app, they now have the ability to take a photo using our scanner feature, and that uploads as a PDF directly to their document folder in Clio. And so there's a easier process to the mobility of the client and the way that they engage with our office if we just implement this tool. And it's like anything, our app is a tool.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't use your billing software, if you don't enter your time,
Mm-hmm.
nothing's going to get billed. And so if you don't use this software like it's intended to be used, you're not going to get any kind of engagement. And so that's kind of what we're working on right now with most of our customers. It's just implementation and trying to help them. And because we are so new, our customer numbers at this point are where we can still work with them on a one-on-one basis. We're reaching a point where that's difficult to do, but we do, with these early adopters, have the ability to really give them some hands-on treatment and help them to implement these tools in their practice to make it successful. And that's what we really want. As a practicing attorney, I don't want to put a product out that's not going to be providing value to attorneys across the country in their practice. I want this to really help people and to make life easier. So that, if you're at dinner with your wife at 7:00, instead of getting that text from a client who's wanting to know what they need to wear to court tomorrow, they just send you a message on the app, and then you get to decide how you're going to engage with them at that when and where. And just little things like that I think are going to make life a little bit easier for attorneys.
In addition to the Clio integrated version of your firm, you're also going to be launching a non-Clio platform that's going to make it near impossible for lawyers to argue against having an app on the App Store. So tell us why they shouldn't argue. What signs or data have you seen that point to apps as being the integral part of client services in the future?
I think that the numbers, if you look at the hard data that we're seeing in terms of the way that consumers engage with the internet, they're engaging on their mobile device, and that number is going up every year. If you can create an easier way for them to engage with you on their mobile device, it's going to be easier for them to use you as their attorney. And so one of the things we're doing right now, that's the theory. Mm-hmm. And I think we're very much, I think, in the same zone that websites were about 20 years ago. I can remember a time when I was probably starting law school where, a lot of attorneys would say, I really don't need a website. Why would I need a website? Mm-hmm. I have a double truck ad in the Yellow Pages. Why do I need a website? And so I think that's where we find ourselves today is that at some point, the App Store is more than likely going to become a search engine of what am I searching for my problem, and is there an app for that? And I think that what we're trying to do is get out in front of it to say, look, if you're a law firm in Oklahoma City who's doing family law, you want to be the app in Oklahoma City for people who are just searching for a family law attorney. And that's where we've created a marketing app. One of the things when we went live with what we're calling our client-facing app, it was exclusively a Clio-oriented integration, and it was exclusively for clients. We started getting a lot of people who are asking us, either one, I don't use Clio, not a Clio user, but I still want an app, and you guys are making it very easy for us to get an app at a price point that's much lower than what I've been quoted. So we're interested in your product. But we needed something that was more prospect facing. If you're a prospective client and you're not an existing client, we want something that's they can download, they can have it, we can put it on our website, and they can link to it to download it if they're looking at us as a law firm. And so what we did is we created what we're calling the marketing app, and it allows for basically very easy communication flow between the client and the firm, one way, so the client can message the firm. It allows for the client to more easily find you so that they don't even have to plug in your address into a Google Maps search to find out where your office is. They can just click it. It's going to take them directly to your office. It's got customized intake forms. They can easily follow you. You can provide push information to them as far as blog posts and educational issues. And then it does seamlessly work with our client-facing app so that if they're an existing client, they can log into our client-facing app that allows for the communication, the document sharing, the tasks, and the calendaring. So what we're trying to do is to create something that, maybe you're not a Clio user and you want a prospect-facing app. Maybe you are wanting something that is more of a marketing tool than just simply a client-facing communication tool. We want to be able to provide that to you, because what we're trying to do with Your Firm app is to create an opportunity for attorneys everywhere. If they want an app on the App Store, we're your place to come, because we are trying to make it as cost effective for you as possible. We're trying to make it easy and seamless. I have seen, and we have been able to get someone from initial payment to having an app on the App Store, as far as submitted to the App Store, within 48 hours. That's hard to do if you're just going out to try to create an app. And so I think it's definitely something that, when I say we're trying to make it very difficult for attorneys to argue, you either don't want an app or, but if you want an app, we're making it hard for you to say this isn't something that works for us, because we're trying to price it competitively, and for our starting price is $79. You can get soup to nuts everything we offer for $159 a month. We're providing some discounting if you do it on an annual basis. So we're trying to make it something that every firm can work into their budget if they really do want to be on the App Store.
I like that you're focused on differentiation as a point. Like your competitors might not have an app, but do you want to be the first one that's on the App Store offering legal services? And I also like that you're focused on implementation, and you realize that that's the rubber in the road right there.
Yeah.
Is that you can have the dreams and you can want all those things, but if you don't market it properly, promote it, and really make it integral from the very beginning, then it's going to be difficult. But I like that you guys are focused on that, because you're not just like, hey man, you bought it, good luck. The real point here on this show is what we're seeing is legal tech. There's a lot of different things available, chatbots, e-document review, just electronic signing. Some lawyers are into it. Some are a little bit scared. But these aren't scary, complicated robots are taking your job situations. It seems like they're more about streamlining, simplifying processes. So just you speaking as both a lawyer and also as an app creator, what are your thoughts on legal tech in general? What do you use in your practice specifically, aside from your app? And what do you wish existed that maybe doesn't yet? And what obstacles do you see that you think need to be overcome as far as lawyers adopting legal tech?
That's a big question.
Huge one. Sorry.
I just got back from the Clio Cloud conference. As I said, we were a finalist for their launch code competition, which was nice. Clio's effort to try to increase their app directory, which led to over 50 new integrations on the Clio app directory.
Smart.
And so it has created a motivation among folks who recognize the need for legal tech to go ahead and get out there and start integrating and start developing and doing what they can. I think we're seeing a lot of the things that we've always wanted. For example, the winner of the launch code has been around for a couple of years now, I think, or at least a year or two. Tally. Tally has created an Alexa integration that allows you to bill your time through Alexa verbally. Well, for a guy like me who's terrible at entering my time, that's a great fix, and one that I think a lot of people are really excited about. What I've said to folks before, what we're doing, we're not blockchain, we're not AI, we're not, some of the buzzwords that you're seeing in terms of legal tech today. we're a very practical innovation that is intended to make life easier because it's something that clients will actually use, and you as the attorney will benefit from it. I think within my practice, some of the things that I think I would love to see more of is more economic data reporting. And I think that one of the things that I did see, My Firm Data was a new integration to Clio that launched this year, that they're trying to answer some of those issues. And I think that data is one of those things that, as we begin to start, as small firms start to recognize that the technology that's available to them is going to level the playing field between the smaller firms and the larger firms. They're also going to want some of the same data reporting tools and the analytics that are available to larger firms, so that they can start running their practices in the most efficient and most profitable way. And I think what we're going to see more of, we're going to see more $1 million a year solo practitioners than probably anything else in the legal community in the next 10 years. I think that technology is going to allow for a solo practitioner to start setting their practice up so that they are making as much money or more than they could make as a partner at a large firm. And I think that that's where I truly believe that the future of legal is going to be on the ground with free agents who are experts in their field, and they're going to be able to run a practice where they don't have to share their profits with anybody else. They can just do it themselves, because we're making it so easy to run a law office right now with technology that's available to small firms, that I just don't see how it can't go that direction. And so I'm excited about where we are. I know that legal tech has been behind the 8 ball for about 10 years, where we feel like we're always trying to play catch up. And to some extent, I think we're still there, but I think that there is such a hunger and a desire among people who are in the trenches, that I think that the demand will just will result in more development and more innovation to make life easier. And I think it's being done right now. I think what Clio and Rocket Matter and Practice Panther and these other CasePeer, you've got all of these cloud-based practice management platforms out there that are trying to just continually improve their product. And we didn't have anything cloud-based 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we were scared of the cloud. And so I think the next 10 years are probably going to be the most exciting as it relates to legal tech that we've ever seen, because I think that the innovation is starting to catch up with the general community, the technology community. And so we're going to see, I think, a lot happen in the next few years that I think we're all going to be excited about.
Yeah. And I think it'll change if we have more people like you, practicing attorneys who are looking towards the future and seeing all that opportunity. Because I think you're going to have all the investment money, seed stuff, angel rounds, everybody's going to be there. But I want to make sure that lawyers show up. Like I really feel like we have all these dreams and we have all these amazing tools, but I think that lawyers they don't see themselves as the people that need to change. And it's not that you need to change anything. It's just got to open up your heart a little bit and see it working. And I think by seeing you, Chris, having an actual law firm and creating an app that was tested in an actual law firm and not in some beta bros garage, in Silicon Valley, I think that's meaningful. And I think people need to kind of feel that passion and see that reality in a case study. And that's what I think. I just think it's important. And that's the kind of gospel that I want to spread. And I think you're doing a wonderful job. I
appreciate that. And I agree 100%. I think that I will not give up the practice unless I just have to, because I love the fact that I get to taste, touch, feel the things that I'm talking about and the things that I'm trying to get out there in the world, like your firm app, right here on the ground. So if there's a problem with it, if there's a bug, if there's a glitch, I'm probably going to have experienced that myself before, and so we can go fix it as quickly as we can. But I do think that there is definitely a need for practical innovation that comes from attorneys. And I think that people just have to understand it's not the barrier to entry for innovation and development. It's not as high as some people may think. If you have an idea, that you don't have to go find a $1 million seed round to go develop and take an idea out there. You just have to have the ability to just see it through. And I think that's the part. We really kind of started soft selling the idea of your firm app 2 years ago here in Oklahoma, where I'm located, and tried to determine if there was an interest in it before we ever went to development. And so we started that process 2 years ago. It was only after Clio announced the launch code competition that we expedited our development schedule and tried to make sure that we were able to have an integration on their app store this year. But we didn't stop, just because the idea was one that we had some interest in it. Did we have, people knocking down our door at the time? No, but I knew that it was something that I still wanted it in my own practice. And I think that was still, again, a motivation for me, is to say that, I get this, I see it, I know that my clients want it. And if my clients want it, I think that there's probably some other people out there that probably will too. And so let's go ahead and do it. I've got an awesome wife who was absolutely in every way my co-founder, and is, I could not do this without her. We've got a 2.5-year-old at home that she's chasing. We got one on the way that's coming at the end of November. So we're definitely in the weeds as far as the combining of law practice, of legal tech startup, and family, but we're getting it done. So it's been fun along the way, and we look forward to what's to come.
Well, congratulations, man. So on all the new apps in development and everything. So how can people learn more about you, Chris, and how can they learn about your firm app?
First, start at our website, which is yourfirmapp.com. And then they can find us on Twitter at yourfirmapp, and Facebook as well is at yourfirmapp. So that's the best place to start. And they can email me at chris@yourfirmapp.com. And I check my email regularly and quick to respond. And so I love to engage. I will say this, I love talking to attorneys. It's been so much fun being able to talk to the many, many attorneys that I've got to talk to in the last 6 months through this process. And so I enjoy the process of trying to talk about their practice, help them along the way. And that's been a byproduct of this, is just the ability to just have a conversation with attorneys about, hey, you're doing this. Have you ever thought about doing this? Have you ever thought about this integration over here? So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy that part of it.
5 questions we ask everyone.
What was the last book you read?
The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino.
Sweet.
Also maybe my favorite book.
Excellent.
Nice.
It's a good one. Number 2, what is your favorite place?
La Jolla, California.
Nice. Number
Ready.
3, what sites, blogs, newsletters, or podcasts do you regularly check in with?
The Lawson podcast, obviously, is where I start.
Of course. That's right. We'll set a stone.
It's always a good place to start in terms of podcasts. I am, it's funny. My podcasting is probably the one thing that I have as regimented as I can be. I'm more of a morning drive is going to be a business related podcast. or something like the Tim Ferriss Show, something along those lines. I am what I call a 90% plant-based dieter. So I also like the Rich Roll podcast. And so those are my mornings. My afternoons are going to be more like The Watch or something a little bit less businessy and something more current events. So as far as I try not to spend a lot of time on news. I think that's one of the things that I've tried to implement lately is I try to spend as little time as possible on news. I get enough noise on social media and Facebook and Twitter, but honestly, Twitter's probably where I have lived the most in the last 6 months, and probably where I think that I think legal tech seems to be more active on Twitter than other avenues, and so that's probably where I spend most of my time as far as news goes.
Cool, for sure. All right, number 4. If you were stranded on a desert island and could only pick one condiment to take with you, what would it be?
Ketchup.
Right on. Yeah, that's a solid answer.
Strong.
Yes. All right, we made it to the end. Number 5. After a long day or a long week at work, how do you relax and unwind?
I love to have a glass of wine with my wife at home when our son is taking a nap. I don't know if I can say that or not, but when he's when he's down for the count and having given his mom and I a second, that's my favorite time of the day. So she's pregnant now, so that hasn't happened in about 8 months or more. So
yeah,
but that's my happy place.
Yeah, and unless you get those naps, go ahead.
Unless I'm jumping on a plane with her to go to La Jolla, California, which is where we had our first date, I would say that home with her is the best place to be.
For show notes, links, and info, go to thelawsomepodcast.com or follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Be sure to leave us a review and rating in iTunes or wherever you find the you listen to. Until next week, stay lawsome.